Welcome one and all fellow fans of Clash of Clans from around the world. Thank you so much for choosing to spend a few minutes of your day with me. I've got an exciting double episode today. And yes, I will tell you the story of how one day in Legend League cost me 30,000 gems. We'll get to the hashtag GemBang in just a moment, but let's talk about my very first Legend League attacks with the rushed accounts. So yes, of course, the troops are maxed out. The heroes, pretty close. I used a hero potion here, and then the only thing that wasn't maxed in spells was the poison spell. So I'll tell you right now, I didn't have a lot of excuses as far as poor performance. And what did happen though? Well, there were a few 1 stars. Is it worth showing? Not really. Come on, we don't want to see that, right? No, we want to see the successes. So we'll go ahead and show those, and we'll talk about, well, okay, it was a shock to my system as a rushed account to come up here to hit Legend League. And then suddenly, I mean, it was funny because back in the days, it used to be you could go from Titan 1 to Legend and you would see virtually no change in the quality of bases. Suddenly here, from Titan 1 to Legend League, the bases completely changed. Of course, suddenly you're going to find almost everybody's got a loaded CC, almost everybody's heroes are awake, very few buildings are going to be under construction. It's just, you don't see a lot of what you see as you're hunting for farming type bases, right? You're not going to find a dead base. You're not going to find a terrible base that's, usually anyway, you're not going to find a terrible base that's left, the town hall outside and things like that, unless somebody's dropping intentionally, which is something that I eventually did after this one day in Legend League. But, of course, we had to go try hard, at least for a day. And I gotta tell you, it wasn't completely easy. We tried a few different armies. Of course, Queen Charge Miner has kind of been my go-to attack for a while, but when you don't get a real solid funnel going, sometimes it's just spray and pray. Sometimes you just gotta hope that your main brunt of the attack has enough miners that decide, hey, what's that big blue building over there? You guys want to attack it? Yeah, why not? Let's go. And sure enough, just barely enough miners head on over to the big blue building with a disco ball on top, and they get it down. So we grab the 2nd star for the town hall, and the miners continue their way on through. And this has kind of been the difficulty I've had. Now, of course, a lot of times a well-conducted 2-stage attack like this, Queen Charge Miners, Hogs, or especially Queen Charge Lalo, can wind up with a triple, and it just didn't work out for me in my attacks in Legend League on this account anyway. On my main account, I would say out of 8 attacks, I've been averaging 2-3 stars a day out of 8. So it just, I'm no Itsu. Let's admit it right there. Itsu might average 7 or 6, but, I'm just not there. And I may never get there, but that's okay. I'm happy. Whenever I would say on my main account, if I get over 80%, I feel like that's a definite win for me. And it's pretty good trophies. It's not 40, but it's still respectable. So as you see this attack wrapping up, we did get pretty darn close to the 3-star right here. The Archer Queen's still alive as time runs out. 89% translates to 29 trophies. So a solid in the W column. And then, okay, now I also wanted to talk about the matchups. And this feels a little bit strange to me because I'm going to head over to my defenses in a minute. But I felt like some of the bases that I kept finding in Legend League on my rushed account were more carelessly put together or more rushed than ones I found on my main account. And the trophy range between the two is pretty tight. I mean, my main account is 52, 5,300 right now, as this rushed account was just obviously right at the entry level limit of 5,000. So does that mean that there is that large enough pool that I'm seeing a significantly different type of base at 5,300 than 5,000? It could be. If that's the case, then just wait until we see players above 6,000, potentially above 7,000. I mean, realistically, where does it end? At what point do the wins and losses really start to even out? Because when you have these really good players, and, like in Itsu, maybe out of a potential 320 trophies a day, you pick up 300 plus. You are going to have a heck of an amazing base that confuses attackers somehow to lose any less than close to 200 trophies a day. So I feel like up there at the very top of the skill levels, we will see a much closer range where players are maybe only gaining a few dozen trophies a day, if that. I cannot wait to see the way it works out later on in the season. I won't be there, but I certainly know a few Tribe Gaming players that will be. We will talk to them and we will share their experiences with you. I'm also looking forward to seeing if the meta changes. This, remember, is the very first month that we've seen a complete month of Legend League players, of Legend League plays, of Legend League battles. We don't know what it's going to be like. Last season, a lot of players had an opportunity to push up to about 6,000 before Legend League went into effect. There were only a couple of days of the true Legend attacks. So yes, again, this is the first month where we'll actually see what matters. Now, of course, this is supposed to be a Fix That Rush episode and not an episode about Legend League, but we had to give it a try. We had to pop on up here and just see what it felt like. Okay, so a couple of good things. Yes, 8 attacks. They are tough attacks. They are challenging. It brings the excitement back to the game. The bad things, well, primarily, let's talk about the loot, okay? So the loot right here, and this is per Supercell's numbers. If you were to drop a perfect 3-star in all 8 of your attacks, which again is probably almost nobody or nobody beyond the first few days of the season, you would collect exactly 7.2 million gold, 8.02 million elixir, and 75.7 thousand dark elixir. That is it, folks. That is all you can get in Legend League per day. Can I get a hashtag feelsbadman in the chat? I mean, it just doesn't feel right. So I will tell you what, in the next episode of Fix Farm Gem Max That Rush, we will see if I can conduct 8 attacks farming and how much loot I'll get compared to this loot in 8 attacks, okay? Just to compare 8 versus 8, apples versus apples, and then we'll go out and see how many attacks I would normally conduct in a day where I wasn't limited to 8, and I wasn't limited by clouds. So that's the other problem. I'll probably drop down to like Titan 2, maybe Titan 3, and we'll see. Maybe in 2 hours. Is that a reasonable amount of time? I feel like 2 hours is a reasonable amount of time for somebody that is really passionate and enthusiastic about this game and uses their spare time after school in the evenings, you know, after dinner or whatever it might be. Or maybe it's a few minutes here and there. Maybe it's 1 or 2 attacks at a time throughout the day. I still feel like Supercell's justification of 8 attacks in Legend League per day is flawed. And here's why. Because again, it's limited by the screwed up clouds that were there screwing up everybody's play to begin with. Would players conduct more than 8 attacks in Legend League a day if they didn't have to deal with clouds? Of course they would. Of course, well, okay, not everybody. Some would do less, but what would the average be? There's really no way to tell. What is the average length of time that a player plays? These are statistics that Supercell has never made public, and I suspect never will. For whatever, business reasons, we will never know the truth behind how much an average player plays and how many times they want to attack a day. So the 8, it's not really applicable to real life. And again, in the next episode, I'll try things out and I'll let you know how it feels. And we'll compare apples to apples and, of course, apples to oranges. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at my defense log. Now, I have to tell you, my really pretty badly rushed base did surprisingly well. It did, of course, get crushed a lot of the time, and it got tripled a couple times, but shockingly, get it? Shockingly, as the lightning drops. But anyway, it did pretty well, okay? And so we're going to go ahead and share the link in the description. This is not the first time I've talked about this base. In fact, if you saw the 300 IQ episode that I did just a while back, I guess it was about 2 weeks ago or so, the 300 IQ base on my main account, this is the exact copy. All I did was copy the layout over to my rushed account and gave it a try. So yes, it did okay. But let's again talk about the matchups. And here's the thing. I feel like even though my main account started at 5,000 just a couple of days before this account did, I feel like my main account never got attacked by people this low level. I mean, this guy didn't even bring a queen. You see players not even bringing heroes. Here's no king or queen. And a lower level warden, not maxed, but not lower level, but just not maxed out, So, I don't know. Perhaps this is the 5,000 phenomenon, we could call it, when you're right at that cusp of Legend League and you get hit by players that aren't maxed out. And maybe they're doing the same thing I am. Maybe they're just experimenting allegedly just to see how it feels for the first time. I really don't know. But I had a surprising number of 1-star defenses. So overall, do I feel like I could have stayed in Legend League? Yes. I feel like I could have hung. I couldn't have gotten much higher than 5,000, 51, 200 before I started to get really, really crushed. But I feel like if I really focused 8 attacks a day, that I probably could tread water right around 5,000 trophies. Now, do we want to do that? No, it feels bad. It does. You get crushed over and over and over again, and although you're not losing loot, again, those limits that we spoke about just a couple of minutes ago, they feel, it doesn't feel fun to have that limit imposed on you. And then I will tell you this, at the end of these 8 attacks, it felt pretty crappy. It felt crappy to be done playing. I'm like, okay, I want to play some more Clash. No, you can't. You can't play anymore. Sit back. Relax like the lazy barbarian in the image because you're done playing, bro. I was like, bro. So, you know what happened? Yeah, you know what happened, right? I went over to the builder base. Okay, now I went over to the builder base that we maxed the other day. We ran it from 3 to 9. Okay, we maxed it as far as builder hall level, but we didn't max everything else. And so this is where the Legend League cost me 30,000 gems, okay? Because I got a little bit bored. I'm like, hey, wait, I want to play. And I go over to the builder base, and it looks terrible over here. It's like, this builder base is extremely rushed. So I thought, hey, I know what we'll do. Let's take 30,000 gems and see how far they get me. Now, I honestly, when I first bought these gems, $200 worth, I did not intend to blow them all at once. I didn't think, oh, let's spend all of these gems. Let's just blow. Well, okay, this is what happened. I'll give you my explanation. Once I bought the gems, and I went to look at the fact that I had runes, I had 1 rune of Builder Gold, 1 rune of Builder Elixir, and I had troops that I needed to level up, despite the fact that I have a ton of power potions. I could use the power potions, but that's only temporary. What do you do when all the power potions are gone? Well, here's the problem. I went in and I rage gemmed the storages because it didn't make any sense to use the runes unless you had maxed out storages. So now I've got maxed out storages. Do you notice something? Do you notice Galadon just spent 17,000 gems maxing out storages? I seriously did. And now it kind of got away from me. If you want to go back and take a look, I did go through it really quickly. It was one of those things. It was true rage gemming. I never looked at the total number of gems spent. I just clicked finish, next, finish, next, finish, next, gem, gem, gem. And before you knew it, I honestly felt like it's one of those things like if you do it faster, it hurts less, like ripping a Band-Aid off. I thought, let's just rip the Band-Aid off of these storages, get it maxed out because it's a long-term payback, over a length of time, much longer than what it hurt. We will benefit from maxed storages. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was definitely some faulty reasoning. But hey, you know what? I make mistakes so you don't have to, right? You can live through the hashtag GemBang. The hashtag GemBang that happened, and then once, of course, we had the big storages, we filled them up, and we went out and we improved a bunch of different defenses. I was kind of random about this. I'll be honest with you guys, I did not follow the fundamental of, splash first, blah, 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 down the line. I just kind of did whatever looked like it needed an upgrade, and then, of course, the battle machine. I want to at least have a level 5 battle machine so that we can use his ability, right? I mean, that made complete sense to me at the time, although the gems, again, are IP now. We're right about where we started the episode before I bought those gems. So 30,000 gems are out of here. And then I realized I had this little awful looking baby multi-mortar. I hate, that looks terrible to me. It really does. That needs some more help. You know what it looked like? Do you remember Ryan Reynolds' legs in Deadpool 2 when he had to regrow them? Yeah, that's kind of what that felt like. That's a picture you can't unsee. If you saw that movie, Deadpool 2, you remember what scene I'm talking about. Okay, so yes, I did find over in the Gem Juice River, I found a rune of Builder Elixir, so we grabbed that, and we went back to work on the Star Lab, just a few more levels to the dropships and minions. That's pretty much going to be my go-to attack strategy once I run out of power potions. Now, in a future episode coming up, we will try power potions and see how far we can push before this base starts to get crushed, because it's going to be, again, because it's a versus battle, we will only get so far in trophies before I start to run into competent players, to Builder Hall 9 players. But in the meantime, it sort of is unfair, I realize. And yeah, so we kind of have this unfair advantage out in versus battles. And sure enough, pretty much everybody I'm finding right now is, yeah, they're just a lot smaller than I am. And although, I don't know, it's not fair. And I can't, obviously he had a crusher under construction, so I probably would have used a ground army, but this is the army that's upgrading. And so, again, it's just overwhelming power right here. It is just unfair. We get in there, we crush everything, we take him down, and what's the reward? Not very good, because remember, we're at a low trophy level right now in this account. So we need to push up over time. We will try, I mean, cannot wait to try some maxed out, power potioned hog gliders and super P.E.K.K.A.s against some unsuspecting lower level builder hall, 7s and 8s. It is going to be, yeah, it's going to be a builder fest, that's for certain. But right here, we do pick up the 3-star that is relatively easy as the minions are so strong and the air defenses are all gone, and it feels sort of bad. So you know what else feels bad? The amount of gems I spent today. I don't even know if we should do a status report. I'm kind of feeling like, we'll just wrap up the episode here. We don't need to do a status report because that's just, right? I mean, yeah, so let's see what happens here. The versus battle ends up with a clear victory and, a 33% 0-star frustration. A level 10 battle machine too. So, yeah, we don't need to, I don't think we need to do the status. Fine, okay. So today, status report, we did buy a few gems, even though we didn't spend any technically in Legend League. We did drop $199.98 for a total of $22.33.21, and the gems spent today, this is brutal, $30,878, over $220 worth. Total time spent, now we are up to only 79 hours. And our next goals, well, besides getting the heck out of Legend League, we are going to get down there and farm with 3-star armies and try to max out the Grand Warden and the Archer Queen. Let me know. Thank you guys as always. Your views, your comments, your likes help encourage this episode to continue. So thank you for being a true hashtag Galafan member, for Blizzle fristing this episode. I appreciate you guys, every single one of you. Now get out there, make the best of the rest of your day, be kind to people, animals, and easy on the planet, and I'll see you back here again tomorrow for more Full Attacks.
Galadon. I looked up pay to win in the dictionary. It had a picture of your face and your base.